2023 year. Next up, we have Super favorite gaming series is The Legend of Zelda. So without 2023 is an absolute legendary year for gaming. There was so many remarkable games that have come out. I almost feel like all the pause in development during the COVID era time and the delays in games now have sort of caught up, and we were greeted with an excellent year. So without further ado, here are my top games of this year, 2023, and they are in no particular order except for the top 3. All right, first up, we have Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon. Bayonetta Origins tells the origin story of Bayonetta, once known as Cereza. She summons a demon on the night of a full moon who somehow finds himself inside of her stuffed doll. The game is absolutely gorgeous and surprisingly cozy. You control Cereza with the left analog stick and the demon with the right. It took a bit to get used to the controls, but once it locked in, I had no trouble at all attacking the enemies. The story is surprisingly wholesome and well worth playing, even if you've never played a prior Bayonetta game. Next up is Diablo IV. One of our favorite games in the past decade was Diablo III. There were so many memorable moments throughout our time playing. To say we were looking forward to Diablo IV was a serious understatement. Diablo IV launched to some controversy specific to the endgame, but the core game itself is still one very much worth playing. It's fast, exciting, and brutal. The story it tells of Lilith is surprisingly nuanced and had me rooting for her on a number of occasions. Spoiler alert though, Diablo, as a character, is conspicuously absent. Now that some time has passed, and even though we haven't played Diablo IV as much as 3, you don't want to miss out on this action-packed addition to the series. Metroid Prime Remastered is up next. One of my favorite games of all time is Metroid Prime for the GameCube. I have played and beaten it multiple times on multiple difficulties. It's remarkable just how many meaningful changes they've made to modernize this game for the Switch. The graphics are crisp, clear, colorful, and detailed. The gameplay has been moved to dual analog, and you can even use motion control if you prefer. But most importantly, the core game has not changed one bit. What a joy it is to explore new areas, get new abilities, revisit old areas, and beat massive bosses. This game does not hold your hand, and in fact, it's a blueprint that has been used in countless games since its release. If you've never played Metroid Prime for the GameCube, this is your sign to play it. Final Fantasy XVI. Wow, what a game. This is the first Final Fantasy game that has moved from turn-based fighting to action fighting, similar to like Elden Ring, and it's remarkable that it still feels and plays like a Final Fantasy game. It's got a sweeping story that deals with icons, which are towering entities that have godlike powers, and the power struggle various kingdoms have to take over the throne. Many parts of the story feel very Game of Thrones-y, but unlike Game of Thrones, it absolutely nails the ending. If you're looking for a meaty, lengthy, sometimes difficult, but always action-packed RPG, look no further. Pikmin 4 is next. One of the best new franchises to come out of the GameCube era was Pikmin 1. Such an offbeat game about a crashed pilot the size of a quarter controlling the local intelligent fauna called Pikmin. It was equal parts strategy, puzzle, and combat. Throughout the years, they've added more Pikmin types, more challenging puzzles and gameplay, and more enemies. Pikmin 4 is the culmination of all of these ideas and surprisingly introduces a whole new host of brilliant gameplay images. And it taught us all what the word Dandori means. Spider-Man 2 is only a part of a handful of next-gen games that actually feel like they were made for the latest hardware. Zipping through New York City is an absolute delight, and there are genuinely no loading times. Whether you're switching between Peter Parker or Miles Morales, or you fast travel to another part of New York City, everything happens in real time. It's wild. Gameplay is similar enough to the prior 2 games, but it still manages to introduce a few new clever ideas. I did not enjoy the story as much as I did the prior 2, but swinging around the city still feels just as fun as ever. Next up, we have Super Mario RPG. Super Mario RPG is an absolute gift of a release. This game has been on people's wish list for a few decades, and Nintendo finally delivered. Side note, this is one of Chris's absolute favorite games of all time, so there was quite a bit of high expectations. And it fully delivered. The graphics are beautifully remade, and it still manages to capture the original game's quirks, and the soundtrack has been expertly re-recorded by the original composer Yoko Shimomura. Most importantly, the gameplay has remained mostly untouched. If you've never played an RPG and you want to see what all the fuss is about, this is the perfect entry. Next up, we're moving to my top 3 games of the year. Coming in at number 3 is Super Mario Wonder. It was such a joy playing through Super Mario Wonder. It's a return to form for 2D Mario games. It's got beautiful graphics, incredibly accurate controls, and top-tier level design. Each level feels perfectly unique and fun to explore. The main new gameplay element revolves around the Wonder Seeds, and each time you grab one, a Wonder Seed, something new and unexpected happens in each level. I encourage you to play the game without having seen any Wonder Seed transformations because they are all super fun and exciting, and many a gay gasp had happened while we were playing. Multiplayer stumbles a bit locally because the camera only follows one player at a time, and then it causes the other players to kind of fall behind, but it excels at online play with seamless 4-player group ups in each level. Working with the shadow of someone else online to try and discover hidden secrets is truly the type of magic that only Nintendo could pull off. Coming in at number 2 is Allan Wake 2. I hadn't played Allan Wake 1 prior to playing its new sequel, but that did not stop me from watching a YouTube recap and jumping right in. This is another game where it is obvious it's made specifically for next gen. The graphics are superb, the atmosphere is haunting, and the motion capture, and mixed in with real footage, is truly remarkable. This is also a game that is wholly unique. I can confidently say that I've never played a game quite like Allan Wake 2. If you don't like scary movies, I suggest you stay away from this game. But if you manage to get through the many jump scares, you'll be rewarded with a type of game that only comes around once a generation, and I'm personally already looking forward to the inevitable TV series that will likely come from this game. And coming in at number 1 is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. As many of you know, my favorite gaming series is The Legend of Zelda, so without a doubt the expectations were incredibly high for Tears of the Kingdom. How could Nintendo possibly take the already massive Breath of the Wild and build upon an already perfect game? They did it by adding 2 new layers of exploration, the sky and the depths, and they went all in on creativity and gave us the incredible Ultra Hand ability that allows you to fuse nearly any object with something else, resulting in a lot of really interesting ways to play. Aside from sharing the major story beats, no 2 people will play through Tears of the Kingdom in the same way. The stories that you create along the way will live with you for a long time and will remind you why video games are such a unique art form. Who knows how they'll build upon the Legend of Zelda series next, but I will be waiting anxiously with bated breath to experience whatever is next. And that's it. That's my top games of the year. I played roughly 30 total games from beginning to end, so it was really hard to narrow it down to just 10, and this was truly a legendary year. Please let me know what your favorite games of the year were, and let's hope for an amazing 2024.